Okay, well, we are 2 minutes in, so we will, I think, go ahead and get started. It looks like we have the majority of the folks that will be joining us today. So hello and welcome. I'm Nancy Lowe, co-director of the Sport Research and Innovation Initiative. We are so excited to have you joining us today for the first ever UNLV Sport Research Summit. This event has been the culmination of years of work behind the scenes as the sport industry in Las Vegas has ballooned. Today, you will learn about the diverse array of faculty who are leading sport-related research here at UNLV. As you can see on our website, we currently have 10 pillars of excellence, and those pillars of excellence are represented primarily by the working group of faculty here at UNLV who have been meeting over the past 2 years or so to keep this initiative moving forward. Many of you completed our survey, resulting in well over 100 UNLV faculty indicating their interest in sport-related research. Today, we have 86 folks registered to join us for our event. So let's go ahead and get started. Just a brief introduction of our leadership team. I mentioned I'm Nancy Lowe from the College of Education. Dr. John Mercer also represents the School of Integrated Health Sciences as co-director, and Jay Vickers serves as the Business Development Director for the initiative. You'll hear from all three of us today. We're also extremely grateful to have on our team Nicole Schultz, Michelle Coiner, and Alexa Farrick, who've been very, very instrumental in coordinating and promoting this event. Shortly, you're going to hear from Dr. Bo Bernhardt, the Vice President of Economic Development. He is the one who oversees the Sport Research and Innovation Initiative as part of the new Economic Development Tier and the UNLV Top Tier Strategic Plan. Our goals for today are pretty simple. We intend to develop an understanding with you all of what the Sport Research and Innovation Initiative is, and most importantly, how we can help, what resources we have available, what research is currently being done, and what the pillars of excellence are. And then secondly, we want to facilitate connections between researchers in a diverse array of topics to begin to foster connections, collaboration, and support. To that end, I do have a few housekeeping items to address here. Please make sure that you keep your first and last name in your display name at all times so other folks know who you are and can follow up. Please make sure your mute is on, so when the speakers are talking, we're not hearing any background noise. We're all accustomed to Zoom by now and know how important that is. Please keep your screen on speaker view. This will really help facilitate what you're seeing once we get into the slides and the videos. And then please do not unmute to ask any questions. We would prefer that you write your questions in the chat. As I mentioned, we have some folks that'll be capturing those questions. And if you could include your name and department when you ask a question, that would also be very helpful. So to start us off today, we have a welcome message from Dr. President Whitfield.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to UNLV's Inaugural Sports Research Summit. I'm Keith Whitfield, president of UNLV, and I'm so pleased to share with you what the Sports Research and Innovation Initiative means to our university and the broader Las Vegas community. The Sports Research and Innovation Initiative, part of UNLV's Office for Economic Development, will serve as a hub to showcase some of our most talented faculty and their outstanding sports-related research and innovations. Bringing these bright researchers together, along with support from industry partners, to discuss areas as diverse as esports, sports betting, sports performance, sports business, and everything in between. SRII's mission is to change the world of sports as we experience it today. Thinking big picture, this initiative will be an important contributor to our efforts to sustain UNLV's Research One Carnegie Top Tier designation as a public research institution. Not only this, but SRII will enhance workforce development in Las Vegas by fostering faculty connections that will coalesce into new research opportunities and academic program offerings formed to better align with the workforce needs that are emerging in this broader sports industry. Also, Thanks to this initiative, the Las Vegas community will have easy access to true cross-disciplinary research. The expertise and guidance that SRII will provide will go beyond traditional sport and human performance research. It will include developing new technologies, enhancing facilities and experiences, all in an effort to create a long-lasting positive impact for youth, high school, community, college, and professional sports in our community. In recent years, with the establishment of the UFC Headquarters and Performance Training Institute, the NHL Golden Knights, the WNBA Aces, and the recently relocated NFL Raiders, the Las Vegas sports community has grown exponentially faster than any other city in America, making UNLV and our faculty and students uniquely positioned to be experts on sports research. These exciting possibilities and potential connections with the emerging sports industry will be further developed and facilitated through UNLV's Sports Research Innovation Initiative. Today's summit is a unique way in which we are encouraging all of our colleges, schools, faculty, and staff and researchers to connect, collaborate, and share their sports-related research and innovations to begin work on creating this central sports research hub that will transcend limitations and create a long-lasting impact on the future of sports in Las Vegas. So I just want to thank you for being here and hope that you thoroughly enjoy the summit today. Thank you very much.
Thank you from President Whitfield. And next we have a welcome message and interesting story on UNLV's recent research success from Dr. Bo Bernhardt.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bo Bernhardt. I'm the Vice President of Economic Development here at UNLV. I want to start by thanking from the bottom of our academic hearts, both GoEd, the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and Switch, whose generous financial donations have led to the kinds of brainstorming you're about to see. As the proud leader of economic development for this university, I can think of no more important effort to diversify and strengthen our economy than the sports-related projects that you're about to learn about. And don't dismiss any of these as mere small projects. You never know where even a small project might end. I have one such small story that I'd like to share with you. I was teaching an executive leadership course here at UNLV just about 5 years ago. And after lecturing on how the NFL did not seem to understand the latest research on gambling and policy and regulation and the way that Las Vegas was leading, I actually was approached by a gentleman who would forever change Las Vegas's sports history. He was attending my class and his name was Napoleon McCallum. He was in the class as a community relations director for Las Vegas Sands, the company that then took the football and ran with it into the end zone for the ultimate Las Vegas Raiders. But what Napoleon had to say that day was transformative. He said, I think that what you said about the research is something that the NFL doesn't know about. Do you want to meet with the Raiders? And I said, sure, thinking that probably wouldn't happen because researchers don't get these kinds of opportunities, but certainly want to be open to them. And sure enough, about 2 weeks later, we were at the International Gaming Institute talking research with Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders. And when I was finished explaining how research provided answers, he asked me if I could put that into a big academic report, which as a professor, I was happy to do. We then went around and helped educate the NFL and other teams, and we knew that we had to get to 24 points, so to speak. We knew we needed 24 votes out of the 32 teams in the NFL to approve the Raiders' move from Northern California to Southern Nevada. Fast forward to 3 Marches ago, we were at the Biltmore Hotel in Phoenix, armed with that research report just in case they needed it, and they didn't because we got a text from the inside that said, yes, 31, no, 1. The Las Vegas Raiders have been voted into existence. And now here's what I love about this story. It tells us about the inspiring power of a university and its research. It actually starts as a teaching story inside of a UNLV classroom. And then it evolves into a research story where we provided the research insights to the National Football League and other constituents. And then it evolved again into a teaching story as we took that research and taught the world with it. And teach the sports world we do here in Southern Nevada. Think about it. When I grew up in Southern Nevada, Las Vegas's boxing spectacles were unlike any other on the planet. A generation later, the Golden Knights reinvented the very presentation of sports itself in arenas. Like many innovations, this was first mocked, right, as overly Las Vegas, over the top. Then it was embraced and ultimately copied, not just throughout the NHL, but around the sports world. The UFC literally invented a new sports entertainment option, taking something we knew as Nevadans, that strong regulation and oversight, and with Mark Ratner's leadership at the UFC, we knew that this was something that could result in a cleaner, safer, more appealing activity, just as the gaming industry needed that kind of Nevada expertise to oversee gaming's growth, which has since, like the UFC, been exported to the rest of the planet. So I say this today. Be excited about research. Be excited about small things. Be excited about the ways in which research-based insights just might change the world. And let's move onward together. Thank you for coming.
Thanks to Bo for that energetic introduction. And now Dr. John Mercer is going to provide some history and context on the Sport Research and Innovation Initiative.
UNLV has a strong history of sport-related research. The list of people who have contributed to get us to here predates me coming to UNLV in 1999. There have been a number of faculty, administrators, students, and community members over the years that have moved sport-related research forward. I'll share my perspective of the history that has led us to this summit. The Sports Research Injury Center facility, pictured here, was built in the mid-90s due to a donation by Claude I. Howard. This facility, which still exists today, brought together traditional sports science research areas such as athletic training, biomechanics, and exercise physiology. As such, the level of instruments available to quantify human movement grew. Faculty and students had access to a sophisticated 3D motion capture system and other instruments to quantify and study human movement. Over time, the number of faculty who became involved in research within these walls grew to include physical therapy, engineering, and life sciences. Furthermore, over time, there has been consistent growth across campus in faculty and students, not only working in this facility, but in other areas across campus, who have developed additional sport-related research laboratories and other capabilities. You'll hear more about these areas today. At the same time as this growth across campus has occurred, Las Vegas has grown in terms of professional sports. Cirque du Soleil and boxing have always had a strong history here in Las Vegas. We've had a minor league baseball team. UFC has moved to town. The Golden Knights, Raiders, Aces, Lights are all calling Las Vegas home. The list continues to grow in terms of professional sport teams involved or located here in Las Vegas. And this has all happened in a very short period of time. In the last 2 to 3 years, a core group of us started discussing how to engage the community in terms of this sport growth. And as good researchers, it was determined that we needed some data and a campus-wide survey to identify faculty who were doing research in any area connected to sport was sent out, and many of you completed that survey. Thank you for doing so. In analyzing the data, we were first very impressed at the breadth and depth of sport-related research happening here at UNLV. Every unit, in fact, was on campus was represented in the survey results. We were able to see groups of faculty emerge, and we started to refer to these groups as pillars of excellence. You'll hear more about the pillars as well as key faculty related to these pillars during this summit. What had been missing at UNLV was a focused effort to bring faculty together in a way to form collaborations as well as connect with the community. At around this time, the university was able to secure funding through the Governor's Office Economic Development Program, or GOED, to initiate a sports research and innovation initiative. A goal of this funding was to leverage UNLV expertise to stimulate economic development in sport-related research area through further developing sport-sponsored research and workforce development. You'll hear more about the awards that were made possible through this funding that have been important in supporting current faculty collaborations, as well as developing new collaborations with industry partners. Overall, in looking back at our history, UNLV has had a humble beginning, but in a short 2 decades, There's been a high level of expertise developed on campus in both breadth and depth of research areas reflected in these pillars of excellence. It is also important to recognize that there's already a high level of collaboration amongst UNLV faculty and industry partners. And I imagine many of you are doing work that would fall into multiple pillars. As we go through the summit today, I hope you'll hear the message of collaboration. And looking forward, we see the potential for additional growth in scholarship, community partners, and engaging students. We're very much looking forward to working with all of you to further develop this initiative, and this summit is an important step to that end.
Thank you, John, for that helpful history. As you can see, this has been a long time in the making and predates probably a lot of us even who come to UNLV. So just as a broad-based understanding of what we're trying to accomplish through the Sport Research and Innovation Initiative, we wanted to share our mission with you, which is to optimize health and maximize performance through research, education, innovation, and economic development. To align with this mission, we have a vision to be the leading sport research and innovation hub, not just in Las Vegas or Southern Nevada, but actually we'd like that to be globally. Being a premier sports research hub means being the finest in terms of leveraging institutional and regional sports expertise to drive excellence in all aspects of sport and all aspects of sport-related research and innovation. And now I'd like to introduce Jay Vickers, who is going to share some insights on his role as well as the pillars of excellence.
Jay, I think you're on mute.
Didn't realize that. My apologies. I was saying that Nancy did a great job of illustrating just how great and excited we are to have each of you here. And it's been a long time coming. So we're really excited to talk about collaboration. We're really excited to talk about ways that we can work together and see the future is very bright. As stated, I'm Jay Vickers, Director of Business Development, and I'm not on mute right now, so I'm really happy about that too. I also serve on the new division of Economic Development, executive staff. And to tell you the truth, my goals are pretty simple because I work with amazing colleagues like yourself. So for me to go out into the community and talk about what we do every day and showcase how you can work with our students, you work with other faculty and industry partners is very fun for me to do. But as you know, being at UNLV, sometimes we do a fantastic job of keeping all of keeping some of our best work a secret. And we need to do a better job of exposing all of our accomplishments, not only to internally, but also externally to the community and beyond. So in doing so, we try to make sure we communicate that and also illustrate all the components that we have. One is our faculty, starting with you guys, our staff, students, and we live in a community that is growing every single day and is showing the support for sports-related research. We like to call our community now with the Raiders, the Aces, the Knights, they're disrupting what we do. It's not just about gaming. So how do we take advantage of that? And the SRII is designed to be that great collaborator, not only internally, but also externally, and to be that launching pad for you to showcase your outstanding research and innovation. But most importantly, be an easy access point for you to collaborate with the great minds that are on this summit right now and those that are not on. And from all parts of campus and industry to ensure we can have a positive impact on sport. With your help and willingness to collaborate and support of our community, we can be the leading sports research and innovation hub. Now, I want to go into why I feel that way, and that starts with our pillars. I can tell you normally when I tell someone what I do and what is SRI, the first response is, wow, that is super cool. Then without fail, the next question I get in the community is, what is sports-related research and innovation? The first thing to think about is throwing a football, kicking a soccer ball. They don't think about all the different things that have a positive impact on sport. And I tip my hat on a couple of things. We've had we had some different people apply for our college grant program, which you'll learn about later. And they talked about things as simple as how can they kill viruses in the air. Now we're talking about we've been in the pandemic, and to have an HVAC system that can kill viruses in the air, I think that would help us open up a lot quicker, help us do a lot more things and get back to the events that we love to see. That's sports-related research and innovation. So when I go through these pillars, I don't want you to think that these are set in stone if we don't have a pillar that represents something that you've been working on. But I want you to understand that these are the initial areas of focus that we can clearly communicate not only to ourselves, but to the community about our impact and capabilities within sports-related research and innovation. Furthermore, the pillars of excellence allow us to align and collaborate with our greatest assets, and that's you. With that said, I want to take the time to introduce our first pillar. Also, this is going to be the person I'm about to introduce also represents two of our pillars as our pillar leader, and that's Dr. Nancy Lowe. She represents diversity and inclusion in sport and sport business.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, I'll add just a little bit to Jay's description of the pillars. As I mentioned previously, there were a couple of different surveys that went out to UNLV faculty. The first one in 2017, and the second one in 2020. And those surveys, we gathered information from all of you, all the faculty at UNLV that were willing to share their research and what they were working on. And it's from that survey that we came up with these initial pillars. So these aren't arbitrarily designed pillars. These are actually reflective of what's happening at UNLV. As Jay mentioned, we fully understand that these pillars cross over. My case is a great one. I'm going to introduce diversity and inclusion as well as sport business, but I work within realms that intersect, right? And that happens so very often. So we fully understand that these pillars are not intended to be silos. And I hope you all get an appreciation for that. It's really simply a way to begin the organizational process of bringing people together to begin the collaboration and identification of ways we can all work together. So having said that, brief introduction of this pillar on diversity and inclusion in sport. This particular pillar is reflective of the growing interest in understanding how to cultivate diversity in sport organizations by embracing people of all color, races, ethnicities, abilities, and genders. The research expands our knowledge to develop systemic change, promoting gender, class, and racial equality, ultimately helping to level the playing field and improve sport for everyone. This particular pillar aligns directly with UNLV's status as one of the most diverse institutions of higher education in the United States, and the need for research on diversity and inclusion in sport, which has never been more evident. From the NFL to the WNBA, issues related to race, gender, ability, sexual orientation, all impact athletes, coaches, executives, and overall success of the sport enterprise. Whether it's examining factors that contribute to the chilly climate for women in the golf industry, which is what you see with that first study, examining strategies to improve gender equity in a masculinized field of study, which happens to be golf, or the risks associated with launching a LGBT targeted marketing campaign, which is the fan study we did for the WNBA when they were the first professional league in all of sport to do a specific marketing campaign targeting their LGBT community. These issues all have a significant impact. Through research in this pillar, we can begin to address the systemic issues and policies, as well as the underlying ideologies that uniquely impact marginalized communities. As Jay mentioned, I'm representing two pillars. I'll speak to this first one with my breakout group, but the next pillar, which I'm going to introduce, will move, go ahead and bring it up, will be aligned more directly with the PGA golf management folks because they also work within the realm of sport business. So thinking about sport business, sport is a multi-billion-dollar industry requiring inquiry into areas such as sport marketing, sponsorship, media, law, management, all issues related to events, facilities, operations, and organizations. In examples of some of the research that perhaps could be reflective of some of the things we do in the sport business realm, I reflected on a study that was done on one of the biggest 10K races in this country. It's called the Boulder, done in Boulder, Colorado, where we did a social cognitive examination of road race participant behavior. So consumer behavior is often at the heart of sport business, trying to understand how we get our consumers to be more engaged or how to build loyalty. Another example of this kind of research is in the area of segmenting different types of sport fans. My particular research focuses on women. And so a recent study that we've been working on is looking at identification and motivation of league fans for the National Pro Fastpitch League. It's a women's professional softball league that, as you might imagine, is within the realm of niche sport and competes against the top level sports for things like sponsorship, advertising, ticket sales, etc. So they find themselves in a very disadvantaged position from a business perspective. These are just a couple of examples of the kinds of things that we do in the realm of sport business. And next, we will move on to the pillar on PGA golf management.
Well, thank you, Dr. Lowe. Appreciate that introduction. Hello, everyone. I am so thrilled to embark on this journey with you, and furthermore, so grateful to our leaders who share a vision for collaboration and research and innovation regarding sports. My name is Chris Kane. I've been serving as director of the PGA University program for 17 years, and I'm a proud faculty member of the Harrah College of Hospitality. And I see the work that we do in club and golf management education supporting the three pillars of teaching, research, and service. And while we've seen success through our efforts in teaching a concentration that has yielded 100% job placement of our graduates, it was important for us to leverage this success in innovative ways through the extension of research and service opportunities. Not only is this a good thing for UNLV, our faculty and partnerships, it's imperative that our students see that they are part of innovation. Our newly established Dwayne Knight Center for Golf Management is one of our proudest moments, and it becomes a new home for the PGA program. But more importantly, it's poised to provide an even greater platform for future collaborations. If there's one thing that I would like for each of you to take away from this very brief presentation, for me, it's not about what we do individually that excites me. It's about what we can do together to extend our reach to our community, our students, our alumni and constituents, and make them take pause and say, wow, look at what UNLV is doing. I want to be part of that, and I want to be part of a winning team. So some of the examples that have embraced this vision is we've been recipients of numerous teaching grants to build partnerships with our community to advance access and affordability and awareness of the game. From a research perspective, looking through a social science lens, we've had publications in the areas of student persistence factors of golf management students, gender equity in golf management, work-life balance in club and golf management field, and currently, believe it or not, I am on faculty development leave exploring competencies needed by leaders in the profession to sustain successful career paths into their future. And this is a virtual background. I am not on a golf course right now. I'm working very hard on that research study. From a physical science perspective, we've entered a 3-year partnership with Penn State's Golf Teaching and Research Center by increasing the scalability of data collection of highly skilled and elite golfers. Our goal is to examine the differences between the two groups through an analysis of golf swing biomechanics. And additionally, through the support of SRII, we were awarded a product service development grant in partnership Kinesiology and Health Sciences with a well-known golf grip company to validate the benefits of their new product offering. I'll give you a hint, they sponsored Arnold Palmer for 60 years. We've enhanced our service partnership with the PGA of America to develop a first-of-its-kind executive management certificate program available to its 29,000 members to promote lifelong learning. The project proudly involved 14 faculty as subject matter experts from 2 universities and 7 units on this very campus. And I'm excited to announce that the ink is drying on our most recent partnership with a mid to large scale golf management company for the professional development of their network's general managers. I'm thankful for your interest in learning more about what we're doing as pillars of excellence, but I am more excited to learn about what you are doing and how we can help you support your research and innovation needs and help move the needle together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kane. Up next is sports betting, presented by Dr. Brett Abarbanel.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brett Abarbanel. I'm the Director of Research at the International Gaming Institute. And like Dr. Kane before me, I'm a proud faculty member of the William F. Harrah College of Hospitality. And Chris and I actually are even in the same department, which means we get to work together. And I'm very excited to talk about some of the ways that that happens. Here today with this first presentation, I'll be presenting on two topics. This one's on sports betting. And sports betting are inextricably linked. This dates back hundreds, even thousands of years, because human beings are natural-born risk takers. This risk-taking behavior is something epitomized by the initiative that we're all here today for this summit about innovation and activity that pushes us to the limits of our human performance. Some North American tribes, for example, used to bet on important lacrosse matches by tying together wagered items in what was a fascinating, ostentatious display of risked wealth. And then the winner of the lacrosse game would then just take it away, these items that were tied together. It's a regular sight these days to see European football teams with online gambling sponsors emblazoned across the chest of their kits. If you have any interest in sport, if you have Googled anything recently regarding sport, you've probably been getting targeted advertising, perhaps with Jamie Foxx strolling across the Bellagio fountains to let you know that BetMGM is the most badass way to get some skin in the game. And this topic is especially widely discussed in the United States right now, following the 2018 Supreme Court decision to strike down the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, which you may have also heard referred to as PASPA, much easier thing to say, which opened the door for states to regulate and/or prohibit sports betting. And I'm thrilled to say that UNLV is at the forefront of research and innovation in this space. You heard Dr. Bernhard talk about how we used the research that we conduct here to help bring the Las Vegas Raiders to town. And for such a long time, Nevada was really the only state that offered straight betting on sporting events, which helped us really form this sort of foundation of research here at UNLV. And this state's regulatory authority has long been considered the gold standard of sports betting regulation. And if you really want to know how great UNLV is on this front, we actually have the woman who once ran this gold standard authority here at UNLV, and not just at UNLV, on this Zoom call. Hello, Chairwoman Harris, it's good to see your name. And if you come to our breakout session, I think you're going to see her there as well. The topic of legal sports betting is appearing in more and more states. There are 20 states now with an active or pending sports betting industry. And bills are now up for discussion in numerous other states. This is a development that we'll be watching closely in this pillar as these unfold in the coming years. And this, of course, is not just limited to the United States. The international sports betting market is far more mature and offers us numerous lessons and analytical opportunities for what we do here. The work that we do at UNLV includes a wide variety of departments and looks at the very many items that you see on the list here. We have legal and legislative discussions for which we can turn to our many incredible law faculty, industry developments and marketing trends for which our business, hospitality, and other social science departments contribute insights to, and that we're constantly getting new interest in. For example, we currently have an active opportunity that I just learned about. It's so new, I still haven't even had a chance to share it with the rest of SRII for the potential of an MLS data analysis center here in Las Vegas. Please connect for more. It's not just limited to sports betting. We have product innovations in UNLV, like those coming out of our engineering department, from Blackfire, from our Center for Gaming Innovation. And one of the most prevalent topics in gambling research, which I'm pleased to say is actually a specialty of the International Gaming Institute, responsible gambling, behavior, and health and well-being. One of our colleagues that we work with regularly in this space is Dr. Shane Krause, who's also on this Zoom call, and I think will be in our breakout session, I'm pleased to say, who has been working in this space for quite a long time. And we have an active MOU since 2016 with the University of Sydney to work on research in sports betting and professional sport. So please reach out if you have any questions on this topic. If you have interest or you've been working in this space, we'd love to hear about it. I'll introduce myself again for the next subject. Up next. Jay, unless you'd like to do it again, we're academics here, right? Are we ever going to say no to someone saying, oh, here's Brett, she's so great?
I think you did a great job.
All right. And the next pillar that I'm here to talk about is esports. So esports, or competitive video gaming, has exploded onto the competitive entertainment scene in recent years. It's a rapidly growing arm of the sports realm, which is why it's here as a pillar today. And it bears many of the hallmarks of traditional major sports leagues. It has ticket sales, event organization, commentary, merchandising, media sales. Esports is actually the fastest growing sport in the world. And the esports betting, since we're also bringing in sports betting to this discussion today, is one of the fastest growing pillars of betting. It's growing faster. It's bigger than golf, with apologies to Chris. It's bigger than rugby. It is not bigger than international football, however, though it is certainly growing. Worldwide, esports has over 600 million fans, and over 3 billion people play video games and are potential spectators in this space. During COVID especially, esports grew as consumer entertainment, filling this huge gap left when sport had to shut down around the world last year around this time. NASCAR, for example, launched the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitation Series, quite the mouthful, soon after motorsport was postponed a year ago, March 2020. And they featured their live professional drivers on a simulated track. And this was streamed live all around the world. F1 has a similar setup with their sim racing series, where it's their professional drivers who use the same rigs that they use in training, something that is certainly worthy of analysis and innovation with an initiative like this one, to compete in televised races. Pinnacle, which is the world's largest online sports book, reports that esports is their 4th most popular sport in betting volume. And they think it will surpass all other sports, again, other than international football, within a few years. And esports has largely been resistant, to COVID-19 economic pressures, which has really helped catapult its growth. Because these games are played on a network, competitors, basically all you need is a stable internet connection and adequate equipment. And you can easily meet physical distancing requirements, and you can easily meet the networking that you need all around the world. Real-time streaming of gameplay is common, and these streams can be watched at home or over popular streaming services. Twitch, YouTube, Douyu, Huya, Mixer, well, Mixer's gone now, are certainly very popular. And this makes for an incredibly durable industry for spectatorship of video games in a very parallel way to the way that we spectate sports matches. And now, as we see that there's this light at the end of the pandemic tunnel, I'm guessing that most of the people on this call have been vaccinated at this point. We are very, very close. We at UNLV are actually in a prime spot for research and innovation in esports. Las Vegas has a massive tourism infrastructure that supports major events, and groups like LVCVA and the Nevada Esports Alliance, of which I'm actually a director, and for those of you who don't know, UNLV is actually a member, support this city as a major esports hub. You may have seen last week, there was a bill announced in the state legislature that proposed at the state level to form the Nevada Esports Commission. This is something that would parallel the format and design of the Nevada Athletics Commission, but instead of boxing and UFC, it would be focused on esports in the state. The work that we're doing at UNLV parallels this. It includes things like collegiate competition, esports betting, game monetization, integrity, data rights, media relationships, advertising, and sponsorships. I know Ben Burrows from communications has been working on this. One of my GAs, Marta Soligo, who is here today, has been working on some research in this space as well. Mental and physical skills, physiological responses. Peter Gray, whose name I saw on the list here from anthropology, I know has done some interesting work in testosterone levels for esports competitors. Robotics and AI. Paul O from our engineering department. I think I saw your name as well here. He's a leading scholar in this space. How lucky are we to have people like these here at UNLV? Game development, performance, digital well-being. Our Blackfire Innovation Lab has the foundation for an esports arena, and it's home to many vertical developments in this space. UNLV's 8-Bit Esports Club has won multiple banners in Mountain West. As it turns out, you're very lucky to hear that, and I'm lucky to say, the UNLV name extends so far into the esports space, and it's really a testament to all the faculty, staff, and students who have built this pillar up.
Thank you, Dr. Abarbanel. Up next is Sport and Health, presented by Dr. Jennifer Farr.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be part of this summit today. I feel like we've been waiting for years to get together and talk about all of the research that we're doing and how many ways we can all be collaborating with each other. So I'm Dr. Jennifer Farr. I am from the School of Public Health. And this broad pillar of sport and health examines the intersection of sport, physical activity, and human health. So some research in this area includes sport participation's impact on chronic disease prevention and mental health and well-being. For example, we've seen that people who participate in sport have lower rates of chronic diseases and depression compared not only to people who are physically inactive, but also to people who participate in other forms of physical activity, like conditioning exercise, for example. We have also seen that people who participate in team sport have better general health and improved mental health compared to those who participate in individual sport. So just a few examples of research looking at that positive association between sport participation and health. Under this pillar, we also see research in the area that includes sport and health related to sports injuries, sport injury prevention, and sport performance. You can see how nicely this pillar overlaps with some of the other pillars you're about to hear about, which include brain health and sports performance. Research in this area can even look at the negative mental and physical health outcomes related to denying someone the ability to participate in sport. I think I heard last night that right now 23 states are proposing some sort of bans or restriction on transgender high school athletes being able to participate in sport. And how's that going to impact their overall health and well-being? That's an area of research, very current area of research that we can be doing under this pillar. In this pillar, we can look at how sport can be used as a tool to promote health behavior and improve health by teaching healthy behaviors. Some examples, especially in developing countries, we can see that sport is used to transmit knowledge about maybe HIV prevention through teaching soccer lessons or something like that. And sport can also be used for development. So sport for development, again, we see that happening a lot in developing countries, and that's certainly an area of research that falls underneath this pillar. And lastly, some of the research in this area includes the use of social marketing. So social marketing maybe by athletes, by teams, by leagues, to really try to improve the health of the community. So me as a public health professor, I can tell people, you know, you really need to floss your teeth or eat fruits and vegetables or something like that. But who am I? I'm just a professor of public health. But if we had the most well-known and famous sports figure in Las Vegas telling people that they should floss their teeth or eat fruits and vegetables, we'll probably see a big impact for that and see a lot more floss going off the shelves of, you know, the supermarkets and Targets and things like that. So I'm really excited. That's just a snapshot of the research that's being done under this pillar. I'm so excited to meet the other folks in our breakout sections to hear what sort of research you're doing and ways that we can collaborate with each other under this umbrella of sport, physical activity, and health. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Farr. Up next is Brain Health, presented by Dr. Jefferson Kinney.
Good morning, everyone. As the introduction says, my name is Jeff Kinney. I am the chair of the Department of Brain Health and I suppose the leader of this brain health pillar. I'd like to start by thanking Nancy, John, and Jay for their work in organizing this, as well as the other pillar leads. This has taken a lot of work to get these groups together. And as I'm sure you're hearing, there is a lot of interconnectedness between these projects. So the brain health pillar is really a build around where neuroscience and sports meet one another. And because neuroscience is such a very broad field, this opens up really countless possibilities, plus ties into some of the other pillars that you've already heard about and you will hear more about in terms of sports performance as well as health. The overarching goals here are to develop some funded research programs that study how brain function, neurobiology, including psychology and mental health, intersect with sports. And primarily here, this is a really good example, and one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of this initiative is because it presents the opportunity for some very interesting organic collaborations to emerge. And some of the most fun projects in my lab or that I've been a part of are these interdisciplinary teams where you have a great deal of expertise in several different areas, and it gives rise to some science that can really, really make a difference. As an example of that, so what's really underway here under this right now, 5 or 6 years ago, my lab started the build out of a biobank and biomarker core facility to support collaborations with a number of physicians in the Cleveland Clinic here in Las Vegas. And one of the projects that emerged out of it was an investigation of biomarkers in traumatic brain injury. So as a collaboration on a DoD grant with Cleveland Clinic, my lab, and Indiana University, we started screening blood samples for candidate markers of traumatic brain injury in MMA and boxers, both active and retired. And much to our pleasure, we've actually identified a couple of markers that now reliably separate that seem to be a pretty good indicator of trauma to the head results in some more long-term changes of some specific targets. This has now evolved into a much larger interdisciplinary project that involves both physicians at the School of Medicine, as well as the Cleveland Clinic facility, my laboratory. There's neuropsychological assessments being involved in this, colleagues in kinesiology and engineering for movement assessment, and is expanded now into the examination of these biomarkers across multiple sports, some that have repeated head trauma and others that do not. This is, again, become something that has been growing every single year. And I'm fairly optimistic that in some of the conversations today, we're going to find some additional people who may want to be part of this overall effort. Beyond the existing work and what we're growing in TBI, the number of possibilities for neuroscience and sports research become fairly limitless. We've had some discussions about looking at TBI's contribution to peripheral injuries. There's a pretty strong literature that shows after TBI, oftentimes there can be impairment or injuries to lower limbs. There are also a number of studies in the neurodegenerative space about how sports and physical activity is therapeutic. And this is being employed in clinical trials. This is being employed as treatment strategies. And we have a number of experts here that could contribute to that as well. So the examples here are really just to highlight some of what is going on now or just starting. But I am particularly looking forward to the discussion with the group about what else may be possible and what collaborations may emerge. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kinney. Up next is Military and First Responder Health and Performance, presented by Dr. Brian Schilling.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here today to talk about this. I think it's a burgeoning pillar, I guess, in the sports performance world. But really, what we're concerned with is looking at military and first responder human performance. And the reason why it really crosses over so much is that we rely a lot on what we've learned from high-level sport. So this area, you may have heard different terms like tactical human performance or ergonomics of military and first responder human performance. There's a lot of different terminology used, but basically we're talking about the physical and psychological demands of physically demanding professions. Those professions, if you look in the literature, could vary as far out as mining performance, right? But we pretty much limited it to military and first responders. It could include law enforcement, search and rescue. There's a lot of different things that fall under that umbrella. So because it's burgeoning, I'm really looking forward to hopefully learning more about what other folks are doing on campus. I already have, to this point, learned what other people are doing. But over and above just our research interests, this is also a workforce development pillar, in that more and more, especially in the military, they are hiring certified strength and conditioning specialists, registered dietitians, certified athletic trainers, licensed physical therapists, mental skills or mental performance professionals. So there's a lot of job opportunities for potential graduates from UNLV, a lot of them coming out of kinesiology, nutrition sciences, but also elsewhere, psychology as well. It seems a little bit redundant, being this far into the program already, but again, there's a lot of crossover, like I said, between what we're interested in and sports performance, the health aspects of participation, or the unhealthy aspects of participation in these professions, which there can be some unhealthy aspects of this. And so hopefully I'm getting us back on schedule, but again, I'm really looking forward to learning more about what other people are doing on campus and facilitating things like group projects, including proposals, publications, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schilling. Up next is sports psychology, presented by Dr. Brad Donahue.
Thanks, Jay. Can you guys see me okay? Basically, for those of you who don't know me, I'm in the psychology department. I'm really excited to talk about sports psychology just in general. As a competitive boxer, I benefited from it personally at our Olympic training centers in Colorado Springs, and more recently saw its benefits from UNLV athletes in an outcome study that I conducted with Dan Allen and later Stephen Benning. As a competitive, as I talk about sports psychology, you'll notice that there's a lot of overlap with other pillars. The field initially focused on sport performance with athletes, but it then expanded out to other populations with unique cultures and specialized skill sets like first responders, entertainers, artists, musicians, and so on. It's also expanded in content to the developmental and social aspects of sport and performance in general, including business enhancement, largely due to its focus on systems, and also mental health. And I think those latter two, the mental health and the business, is where it's really started to blow up, I think, in terms of funding opportunities, because what that allows is for, I guess previously what you'd find is it was very difficult for sports psychologists to earn a living, and there wasn't too many funding streams available. When it started to shift into really focusing on wellness, you had a lot of public interest, largely driven by athletes who had basically been big proponents of it, who were really pressing the issue to try to get support systems in place. And then you started to see a lot of the administrators come on board, and with that, that opened up a whole new field where you started to see people really focusing on wellness, both in terms of practice, but also in terms of research. And in terms of some of the different areas that, are relevant to sports psychology, some of the ones that I have up here are psychological and neuropsychological assessment strategies. And as I mentioned, you'll see a lot of overlap there, like with Dr. Kinney's work. But in general, this is largely focused on trying to evaluate concussions, try to figure out what kind of early signs that we can do to help persons that might have had a lot of traumatic experiences. Also evaluating different types of interventions and trying to see if they're effective. We did a large trial that was specific, to this, at UNLV for several years, and then also just in terms of just improving relationships in general. So it's a field that's really expanding. I'm hoping that we get a lot of interest in this at the university. I think we've got a lot of talent, and so it'd be nice to put us all together.
Thank you, Dr. Donahue. Up next is Sports Performance, presented by Dr. John Mercer.
Great. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. Sport performance is a broad pillar that obviously connects with a lot of other pillars. Operationally, we know that sport is defined as competitive events such as football, soccer, basketball, lacrosse, and so forth. But sport is more broadly defined as any physical activity in which an individual or team competes against each other or even against the clock. So sports such as running, biking, swimming, triathlon, dance, and so forth fall into this category and are studied here at UNLV. So as such, this pillar is built around this statement here. Athletes and teams are always looking for that edge that is going to catapult them over the competition. And the sports performance pillar encompasses the research and innovation that's geared towards helping athletes achieve their sport goals. This pillar involves work from a wide range of perspectives of sport goals that range from competitive goals to personal goals. And although the description there is focused on the athlete, it's important to recognize that our pillar and the work being done in this pillar crosses across a number of different levels of subjects and athletes. It's not just the elite athlete. Although we do and have done work with Cirque du Soleil artists that are in essence professional athletes, we also really focus in a lot on the community athlete and therefore the mere mortal. So faculty here at UNLV who are engaged in research that fall into this pillar include faculty from a wide variety of units across campus, including kinesiology and nutrition sciences, engineering, life sciences, psychology, music, anthropology, and family medicine and sports medicine, for example. The research conducted under this pillar includes a wide range of topics, such as using wearable technology to quantify movement during sport participation. We've had some teams where wearable technology and movements are recorded during game and practices. It's also research includes understanding physiological and biomechanical motor learning, motor control movements that are related to sport, everything from golf to lacrosse to throwing to kicking, punting, things like that. The research in this pillar also includes research understanding injury mechanisms, as well as how to prevent injuries and how to evaluate the effectiveness of different rehabilitation strategies of injuries. There's also a lot of research on equipment design, everything from shoe to protective equipment. Instrument capabilities in this pillar is quite impressive across campus and include multiple 3D motion capture systems. I think now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 different 3D motion capture systems on campus. We have the ability to measure metabolic processes in the body by using a metabolic cart, so how much oxygen you use during exercise. And we're going to expand that capability to have a portable unit so it can be used outside as opposed to in the lab and restricted to lab movements. We have force platforms, accelerometers. We have the ability to measure muscle activity through EMG. We have isokinetic dynamometers. We have a lower body positive pressure treadmill that lifts you up while you run. There's ingestible core temperature instruments available, instruments to measure blood lactate levels and even the blood glucose that's present in your body, and body composition instruments, 3D scanners, and even instruments that measure and quantify your balance. So it's important to recognize that the work faculty are doing, as I said, is not just related to high-performing athletes, but also the mere mortal and really the community members. And a lot of our faculty are engaged with the community and helping them be healthy and be able to achieve their performance goal. And with that, I think we are ready to move to the next phase of this program.
Thank you, Dr. Mercer. We are very much ready for the next phase of this program. Thank you so much, first of all, to our impressive group of pillar leaders. I think now you all can see why they were chosen to lead their area today. And now we're actually going to give you all the opportunity to talk with others about your research interests. And we are going to do this by moving into breakout rooms. So the breakout rooms are already designated based on interests that you expressed when you registered for the conference. So give us just a couple minutes, but I'm sure you all are familiar with Zoom by now. And once you get into the breakout room, the pillar leader will guide the discussion. So enjoy your time talking with colleagues, and we will meet back in this general session in a few minutes.
Oh, great. So one of the things we like to do right now is show a quick video that talks about opportunities for collaboration. You're going to see the highlight is the Switchboard Science Studio. And then we'll have Sarah Wadenberg, Director of Sports Performance for UNLV Athletics, come on and talk about not only what she does in athletics, but also the relationship with Switch and how you can best work with athletics. So we can start the video. Thank you. That is a very exciting video, definitely the right time to do it. And now I'd like to introduce Sarah Wadenberg, Director of Sports Performance, UNLV Athletics.
Hi, everybody. I am coming to you straight from the field of play. I am in my car, but don't worry, I'm not driving. We just successfully finished the both men's and women's Mountain West Conference Cross Country Championship here in North Las Vegas at Craig Ranch Regional Park. It was a beautiful day out, a little bit warmer than some of our counterparts in the Mountain West were expecting, given that we are having a cross-country season that is typically done in the fall in the winter. But it was a beautiful day out, and so here I am. And yes, we are very excited about our Switch Sports Science Studio collaboration. My role as the Director of Sport Performance, I oversee our sports medicine department within athletics. I oversee strength and conditioning. We have a sport dietitian for our sport nutrition unit, and we have a clinical psychologist who specializes in sport for our sports psychology unit. And we are all about the healthcare and health and safety of our student athletes and making sure that we coordinate all four of those areas so that we can provide the most holistic approach for our student athletes as they compete, not just as student athletes, but as people. A lot of what we're providing helps them move forward once they've graduated and move on in their life. So we're really setting them up from a life skills perspective as well. And we found a wonderful partner in the company Switch. We share many of the same core values. And so What you saw in the video were just 3 small examples of ways we plan on collaborating with them. We have an exciting project in the works where we will have a physical space dedicated to sports science. When we look globally at what we provide our student athletes with our 4 pillars of performance, sports science is the next place. And we love working with our colleagues on campus. There is so much exciting research going on. And I know a lot of people always ask, how can they have access to the student athletes? But I am here to share that I am your point of contact, that we do have some NCAA perspectives that we need to keep in mind as we're vetting potential research opportunities. And so there's just a balance there, but we're very excited to work through this collaboration and this group here to vet those opportunities and to make sure that we connect everybody in the most efficient, streamlined way possible.
Thank you, Sarah. That was great. Next, we're going to talk about some of the things that we've been doing up to date, just to give you an idea of what we've been getting done, as we've been working through sports research and innovation in the hub. What we want to have here is faculty support to develop MOUs, NDAs, SIGAs, patents, IP, and IRB. Being under the Division of Economic Development, it allows us to connect you and others to all these different resources that can help you with your research and innovation. And we can connect you to different faculty within the pillars and different faculty with industry. Our key is to be able to do that not only through our resources that we have within Division of Economic Development, but also through the utilization of our college grant program, which I will go through in a second. But more importantly, we want to also make sure we can engage our students as well. As you know, our students are going to be looking for different jobs as they move into this new world that we have post-pandemic, but also the new community that we're building that surrounds around sports in Las Vegas. And to be able to do that, we want to prepare them properly. The work that Dr. Lowe is doing in her sports management program, was soon to be sports management program. So I'll keep my fingers crossed there. But the work that she's doing in sports business, as well as the great work that all of you guys are doing within your respective areas of education. This is going to be a great opportunity, not only for you, but for our students and our community to do really great things together as we move forward. Go to the next slide, please. So you've heard us talk about the Sports Research and Innovation College Grant Program. I looked at several names that's joining us today. Many of you have already been awarded a grant, and we're very happy to do so. There's so much great research and innovation that has a positive impact on sport. And we've been so lucky and so privileged to be able to offer these grants and award them. This was made possible by Nevada's Governor's Office of Economic Development, better known as GOED, through the Knowledge Fund Initiative. We had 2 types of awards. There's a proof of concept grant that we granted up to $50,000, and a PSD grant, product and service development grant, we granted up to $100,000, but it was also made to entice industry partners to work with our full-time faculty. I'm very happy to say to date, we've had a total number of PLC grants of 10 and 4 PSD grants, totaling nearly $900,000. That's made in a short period of time, less than 2 years, also during the pandemic. I have to definitely do a special hand clap to our team and Dr. Lowe, Dr. Mercer, Michelle, Nicole, Alexa, Kara Loomis, Melissa Manriquez. That's our entire team, and they've done a great job of making sure we push forward and move forward on everything that we said we would do and try to do. We still have a lot more work to do, a lot more heavy lifting to do to make sure that we can continue our college grant program, and also the follow-up that we can do to help these college grants become successful.
So thank you, Jay, for giving us a summary, and I hope you all are seeing that. There are resources that we are looking to provide to support you all, and I hope you also felt today that we're very much interested in the work that you're doing in bringing folks together, creating collaborations, and continuing to foster the amazing work that all of you are doing here at UNLV. We started today with 2 main goals. We hope that each of these goals has been accomplished, but for certain, we hope that we met your goals for this summit. So please follow up with us with any questions that you have, any suggestions. We have both, as you can see here, the email account that will go directly to our team, and then we intend to foster connections with other people that were here today. So pillar leaders are very much aware that they'll be hearing from us with information from those of you who've reached out. We want this just to basically be a beginning, a starting point. From here, it's all about creating that collaborative piece, but also breaking down any of these silos so that we can begin to work together. As Jay said, there's a number of people that have been really instrumental in making this happen today. So truly grateful to everyone that made this happen, to all of you for attending, taking time out, because we definitely have been looking very much forward to learning who you all are and the great work that you're doing, and continuing to foster that going forward. So with that, we have reached the end of our time. Here's how you can connect with us. We thank you for your time and attention today. Any questions that were put in the chat, we'll also follow up with you and email through that. Be sure to access our website, follow us on Twitter, and even communicate the good work that you're doing. We'll promote it through our Twitter account. And we definitely look forward just to continuing to work with all of you, developing the UNLV community for sport research here in Las Vegas. And that's what we have for you today, folks. Thank you all, and have a wonderful weekend.